Doug, really? A Melania Trump video? I love covering Melania Trump. I believe she is reflective of, she has a very interesting position in culture because she flushes out all of the liberal hatred and because she's an innocent. I mean, that she doesn't have any of it coming. She's just a first lady, which are usually kind of ignored or heralded as great, but they actually try to destroy her as evil because she's married to Donald Trump. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are, and she spent some time on the Fox and Friends couch.
Yeah, it's incredible, and we are very, very busy. The transition team, I'm establishing my transition team, working on my office, putting my office together, organizing the residents and packing. And
Melania, in your book, you wrote about the Obamas and wanting to go into the White House in 2016 and go in early so that you could find out what the room colors are to make sure you could have a room that was suited properly for your son, your young son at the time. And there was some hesitation with letting you in early.
And that hesitation is called Michelle Obama. The first ladies are super mean to Melania. Super dismissive. That's Michelle Obama and the fake Jill Biden. These people are famous for being duplicitous, famous for being pretty short with them, to a point that Jill Biden, when she invited Melania Trump to tea, Melania Trump turned her down. Now, that might seem mean, but I think it's respectful because Jill Biden implied that Melania's husband was a Nazi, who they made these kinds of comments about him being a fascist. I don't think there's an obligation to show manners and have tea with someone who calls your spouse a fascist.
Been back to the White House. Will you go in early to prepare?
Well, this time it's very different because we already know where we are going, and we have all of the plans from before, so we don't need to go back in.
Yeah, go back in and pass the angry glare of Jill Biden. Last time she tried going in early when the Obamas gave up power, that's in January of 2017. They were famous for making her stay out until the actual inauguration day of January 20th, when she could finally go in and fully walk the ground. And remember, she had to make room for baby or young Barron Trump back then. So they've treated, and we're going to go into all this in this video. It ends up revealing everything about how Melania is treated. I think she's largely treated like garbage unfairly by public. And to me, it shows strength because she doesn't seem to harbor bitterness. I'd be bitter, okay? There's a bitter side of me from the cancellation that I've experienced, and you'll find none of that in Melania. She's so professional.
We have all what we need. So this is the second time, so it's nothing new. The first time was challenging. We didn't have much access.
Not much access. That would be called Michelle Obama.
You don't have to go in and measure the drapes because you put the drapes there.
So she put the drapes there, but also if you want to remove the drapes from this regime, you just tell Jill Biden to leave because Jill Biden is wearing the drapes. We've done a lot of videos on how bad her fashion sense is. It looks like she's either wearing the couch or she's wearing the drapes. So when you want to change the drapes, you just go, Jill, leave the White House. And she goes, and there go the drapes.
Calmer, yeah.
I think it's for everybody, even for me, it's very different because I know what you need to establish. You know what kind of people you need to hire that to be in your office. Right. So
I know one person who she's not going to hire, and that's her previous lady who, after Trump lost, one of Melania's old assistants went straight to the tabloids and was running all of the personal hit pieces against Melania Trump that were printed in Vogue and printed in all these fashion magazines. She was basically a gossip columnist who Melania Trump hired before and was not careful enough, and now they're going to go for loyalty. This is a symbol of how both she and Trump have learned something from the hatred they experienced the first go around. This is what's so amazing about Trump losing in 2020. They were kicked out so they could see how people treated them after they were gone. And now they're going to hire again, right? So they know to avoid a whole swath of both Republicans and Democrats that were all kissing up to him then because they got the opportunity to see what everyone really thought of him when they thought that Trump and Melania would never get back into power.
Melania, you don't get a lot of credit for this, but you did a lot when you were in the White House. And some of the stories people don't know, you put several students, and we're going to talk about your ornaments a little later, you pay for their college, put them through school.
Yeah.
And this part kind of chokes me up. I'm not going to can't get into it too much, but she is incredibly generous, just like Trump, incredibly charitable. She sells these ornaments and puts orphans through college. Orphans who don't have like a family heritage to live on is her main charity, one of her big charities. The media will not cover it. Man, I just drives me crazy. The media is so evil and anti-human. They would rather not publicize her selling ornaments that help orphans go through school. That's Democrats.
And after I left the White House, I established my Web3 and Web2 platforms.
Ding, she said Web3, I'll explain. Web2 is normal web. Web3 is where you can transfer, you can do crypto. So she did a number of NFTs, so did Donald Trump do NFTs, non-fungible tokens. They're pieces of art that you sell for crypto. I did my own set of NFTs back when my channel first got destroyed by YouTube. That was how I paid my bills. And she and Trump got smashed by the public saying they're running a grift and they're terrible. She only raised money and did little fashionable NFTs, but it also shows this is the crypto presidency, guys. Trump, they're going full crypto. I believe Trump is also going to end up buying Bitcoin for the US government. That part of our, instead of having a gold standard or Fort Knox, that we'll start collecting Bitcoin as part of our treasury.
Where I design, where I have collectibles like ornaments every season. This is the third season.
Third season. She's been doing this a long time. She's going to continue to be charitable. And of course, that drives the left crazy because they hate her guts.
I have students from a foster community that I sponsor and I'm very proud of. And we have many of them now, so their life changes because they will have an education.
Sure.
And the reason why you haven't heard of it is because the media is terrible to you. This should be a very famous, very big. And I just want to contrast it with how bad Michelle Obama is, who just put out fruit drinks and basically takes all the money, even though she has 6 houses. No giving back to the community. Same with Jill Biden. Does not overtly set herself up and participate in charities that help people. Melania Trump has gone to Africa, helped orphans, helped the poor everywhere. She's not making bank on this stuff. They already have bank, but I just find their generosity interesting. Remember, this is the 3rd year she's been doing the ornaments. That means even after she was booted out of the White House, she continued to do her charitable work. She didn't just do it for show because no one's showing it.
I have never seen him so level. He just seems calm, serene, accomplished, not cocky. You see him every day in all different circumstances. Are you noticing, even if you factor in, and maybe the factor in the assassination attempts, a different approach right now at 78 years old that you maybe have not seen before?
Now, this is something everyone is seeing around Trump. Happiness, peace. This election is the biggest accomplishment of his life, the re-election. And that's all he wanted to do was check that off his list. By hook or by crook, does not care. Well, now the hard work comes, and he is going to work. He's not just doing it for show or for ego. He really is doing it, I believe, to save the country he loves.
I think because we've been there and he was there before, and now it's a different. I think the energy is different. People around him are different.
But don't you think the magnitude of the win is different? It was
is.
so comprehensive.
It is.
How did he internalize that?
I see that the country and the people really supported him, and they support him.
That's the big difference is, and this is why it's so great that he didn't win in 2020. He would not have the people behind him the way he does now. Trump's popularity ratings right now are the strongest he's ever had in his life. Trump's victory has more Republican votes than any Republican has ever gotten before. He's the most popular Republican right now. He's never had more people support him. And that's a key difference between now and 2016 or 2020. It is his time.
You're in the White House, and you're not on the cover of any of these magazines.
Yeah. She used to be.
Do you think that will change? And would you say yes to them? I think the Vogues, the Peoples, whatever.
Look, I've been there on the covers, on the cover of Vogue, on the covers of many magazines before.
By the way, I believe that Vogue and all these evil, witchy magazines, I believe they will change and they will put her on the cover. I think they're broken. I think this time Trump broke everything and media goes, we're irrelevant if we don't cover her, and they're going to go back to her. Not that she needs it or that she cares.
For me, we have so many other important things to do than to be on the cover of any magazine.
Imagine that compared to Michelle Obama and Jill Biden, who were just fawned over by these magazines. She was a supermodel. She'd been on those magazines back before she won the election back in 2016. They were all very kind to her back then.
She talks about how Anna Wintour went to Paris with you. Is that where
Yes,
you went to
yes,
shop for her
yes.
wedding dress?
Yes.
They were friends. She was on the cover of Vogue several times before that. And after that, because you're a conservative and married to Donald Trump?
Soon my husband announced that he's running for the president in 2015
So crazy.
was the everything changed for them.
Everything changed. They're evil. That's Vogue magazine. Used to hang with her, helped her pick out her wedding dress. You're on the wrong side of things. You're the same person, but now if you're in the wrong party, they cancel you. That's something we can never do. We find the good and the humanity in everyone, even in our opposition, as best as we can. Because I never want to treat someone one way, a liberal, one way when they're out of power. And then when they get into power, attack them simply because they're in power. That's what they did to Melania Trump. I really respect her grace. I think she's an interesting person. I don't agree with her on all kinds of stuff, obviously, but I wanted to unpack her for you, especially in this Christmas season. She's someone who I admire. I'm Doug in Exile.